everybody. So today is our Gita day, Bhagavad Gita. So let's do the Gita Dhyanam mantras. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshinim Bhagavati Mashtadasha Dhyayani Am Tvam Anusandhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini नमो अस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान मया प्रदीपः परपान्न पारि जाताय तोत्र वेत्र एक पानये ज्ञान मुद्राय कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत् वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूर मर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगत गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्य ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेला कुला अशव अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवै रन नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलं गीता अर्थगंधोचकं नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन षटपदे रह पे पिए मानम मुदा भूयात भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम यं ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यस्तवे वेदै सांग पद क्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यानवस्थे तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुसुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. Okay, we are studying Bhagavad Gita and we are towards the last chapter, chapter 18, Moksha Sanyas Yoga. And this, in this part, the beginning of this chapter, Arjun asked a question. He wanted to know the difference between a tyag and a sannyas. These are two technical terms. So there's a big difference between these two. So he wanted to know the clear definitions of these, and that's what Lord Krishna gave these definitions. So tyag could be, he said, rajasic also, sattvic also, tamasic also. There could be different degrees of tyag. Tyag is a lower level. Tyag is a step down. So once we become a tyagi, where we let go of the fruits of our actions, only then we can say that we have become a renunciate. That's a sannyasi. So for a sannyasi, all the desires are gone. They have evaporated. For a sannyasi, tyagi can have a sattvic desire or a rajasic desire, and then slowly they get rid of those also. So tyagi, and then becomes a sannyasi. So now in verse number 12, that's where we're going to start our today's discourse. Lord Krishna is explaining that when such fruit of desire is renounced, and when the actions are done, work is done merely as a duty to God, then no such results accrue from the actions. Otherwise, there are fruits could be sweet, fruits could be sour, and they could be mixed also. So let's see how he says it. Number 12. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividham karmana phalam bhavati atyagi naam prete na tu sannyasi naam kochit. Anishtam, evil, bad, or unwise. Ishtam, good, agreeable. Mishram, mixed. Cha means and, trividham, threefold. Karmana, of actions. Phalam, fruit. Bhavati, accrues. Atyaginam, to the tyagi or abandoners. Pretye, after death. Na means not, tu means but. Sanyasi nam, to the renunciate. Kvachit, ever. So he says the threefold fruits of actions, bad, good, and mixed, accrues after the death only to those who have no spirit of abandonment. Okay, no spirit of abandonment. What? No spirit of abandonment to the fruits of the actions. Never to total renunciate. Otherwise, we are carrying the impressions or the effects of the actions with us. Good also. And they become chains for us. Chain of a good action is a golden chain. Nonetheless, it's a chain. Chain of a bad action could be a chain made out of thorns, which could be very painful, but they both are chains. So the results of all actions depend upon the quality of the action. Okay, so that's why in the last three verses, he mentioned those Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic kind of a tyag for us. But over here, we have a discussion of the different types of reactions that would accrue when the different types of tyags are practiced. See, mind has a instinctive habit of repeating itself. This is what mind does. Future thoughts very faithfully follow the footprints we leave behind. Okay, so that's why right now, in this moment, we have to see what our thoughts are, what our actions are. Because some of our thoughts are positively bad, some are positively good, and then majority of them are mixed type. Okay, so it's like a constant flow of time. So in next few verses, he's going to tell us how to become a renunciate, how to become a sannyasi. We may not be total sannyasi right now. We have some inclinations, but a yogi is a sannyasi. Only then we are cleaning our mind completely. Otherwise, all these vasanas are going to go with us. Okay, so he is saying here that for a man of renunciation, a sannyasi, there's no reaction either to the actions done in the past or to the actions undertaken by him in the present. That's a sannyasi. So tyag, definitely we need the capacity of a tyag first. We got to work on those layers first. Make sure our tyag is sattvic. But then ultimately we got to become a sannyasi. See, it's almost like a realization of the pure be, who we are, like a beingness. When we have the awareness of that beingness, then all becomings end. All becomings. So because for the pure self, there's no becoming. Because becomings are all tendencies of the mind. Those are the vasanas. That's why he said they could be pleasant, unpleasant, or mixed types. Okay. So now let's look at next verse where he is starting out the philosophy, deep philosophy, how to become a renunciate, a sannyasi. पंच एतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध में सांख्ये कृतंते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्व कर्मणाम. Panch means five. Etani, these. Mahabaho, oh, mighty armed. That's for Arjun. Mahabaho, because he's a warrior. Mahabaho. Karanani, causes. Nibodh, learn. Me means from me. Sankhya, in the Sankhya philosophy. See, Sankhya philosophy and Yoga philosophy. It's called a twin philosophies. Okay, it's like a two sides of the same coin, Sankhya and Yoga. So that's why Lord Krishna mentions Sankhya philosophy here and there. With the help of the Sankhya philosophy, we understand Yoga philosophy also. So he says, in the Sankhya, Kritantehe, which is the end of all actions. Krit ant. Ant means end. And that's what a sannyasi is. Actions have ended. Proktani, as declared. Siddhye, for the accomplishment. Sarva karma naam, of all actions. Lord Krishna says, learn from me, O mighty armed, these 5 causes for the accomplishment of all actions, as declared in the Sankhya system, which is the end of all actions. Okay. So it's like a how to do the actions so that there's no footprints left at all. That's a Sankhya philosophy. That is he is going to tell us. And he says, based upon the Sankhya, there are 5 reasons. Yes, Jyoti.
Urmilji, do you have a question now? You have to unmute yourself. Unmute.
Is a renunciant a tyagi or a sannyasi? Because
sannyasi. Renunciant is a sannyasi.
Because
abandoner is a tyagi.
Say that again.
Abandoner, the word abandoner is a tyagi. Renunciate is a sannyasi.
Okay.
Okay, so in English, if we want to really use the same terminology. Okay. And sannyasi is like a yogi in the real sense. And a tyagi is a yoga abhyasi. He's still a student of yoga. He's on the path of the yoga, but have not achieved that union with the higher reality yet. Okay, so that's one way to really clarify it further.
Okay, we'll discuss it at the end of the class further.
Sure, we can do that. So, what constitutes an action? This is the analysis or the anatomy of the action Lord Krishna is going to give us in the next few verses. The external structure of the action, the physiology of action, the inner inspirations, the motives, and the urges of action. He's going to explain it very detailed. Okay, but he is declaring over here that for the real accomplishment, fulfillment, or achievement of an action, 5 aspects of action are necessarily to be disciplined. These are called the limbs of the actions. Without these 5, no action can be accomplished. And if there is a happy coordination of these 5, we'll see that there's a great success. It could be a secular action, it could be a sacred action, it could be a material action, it could be a spiritual action. All the actions need these 5 parts to it. And this is exactly what is said in the Sankhya philosophy. That's why Lord Krishna has mentioned Sankhya philosophy here. Sankhya philosophy is based upon a system of analytical rationality. It develops knowledge of the self through an analysis of the elements within the body and in the world also. That is a Sankhya philosophy. So we are not going into the Sankhya philosophy over here, but I just wanted to know that Sankhya philosophy it goes hand in hand with the yogic philosophy. So 5 factors. They are mentioned in the verse number 14 now. Adhishtanam tatha karta, karnam cha prithak vidam, vividha cha prithak cheshta, devam cha ev atra panchamam. Adhishtanam, the seat, the place. Okay, and we can understand it. This is the body. Place is this body for the action. We need a body to do the action. So adhishtanam could be our gross body or the place where the action is being performed. Tatha means also, karta means the doer. Body is not the doer. Ego is the doer. So that's why karta could be do ego. Karnam. Karnam means the instruments. So we can look at it in the outer world. When we do something, we need the instruments. In order to see, I need the glasses. In order to teach, I need the computer. Those are the instruments. But in this body also, there are instruments. The senses are called the instruments. The sense organs of perception. Cha means and, prithak vidham, various kinds of. So there are so many different instruments. Vividha, many. Prithak, distinct, different. Cheshtha, effort. Effort is put in by organs of actions. Cheshtha, effort is made. Devam, the divine providence, or the presiding deity in this universe also. Cha means and, ev means even, atra here, panchamam the fifth. So the place, or the seat, or the body, the doer, ego, the various kinds of organs of perception, the different functions of various organs of actions, and also the presiding deity, the fifth. So these are the five. Adhishtanam, Karta, Karan, Cheshtha, and Devam. These are the five. Whether you want to understand it with the help of this body or whether you want to understand outside in the world, all the actions are done based upon these five factors. Then if we take the whole credit or put a whole blame, we are not understanding it properly. Because something good happens, we want to take the full credit. Something goes bad, we just go into the dumps also. That's not very wise. So Lord Krishna is enumerating beautifully these five component parts that go into the constitution of any action. Any action. Some people call this a devam as a destiny. Destiny, but that's also devam. When you did those actions before, there were five factors at that time. Now, effect of that as a destiny is a devam for you. Okay? So try to understand. This is a very beautiful verse to have a further clarity. Whether we want to become less egoistic or whether we want to become a renunciate, it will help us. It's a very deep philosophy is given in this verse. Don't they say that with sufficient effort, even poor destiny can be transformed into good fortune? And without proper effort, even good destiny can be converted into misfortune. So all five are equally important. All five. And this is what he's further explaining in verse number 15. Sharir vang manobhiyat karam prarabte nara nyayam va vipritam va panch ete tasya hetva. Sharir is the body, vang is the speech, manobhi, man is the mind. So his body, speech, and mind. Yat, whatever karam actions prarabdhte performs, nara, a person, nyayam, right, va means or, vipritam, the reverse. That means the wrong, right or wrong action. Panch, five, ete, these, tasya, its, hetva, causes. Whatever action a person performs by his body, speech, and mind. So clearly, actions are done with our body. We are familiar with it. But actions are also the words we speak, and actions are also the thoughts which are being generated in our mind. They are all actions. So he says, whatever action a person performs by his body, speech, and mind, whether right or the reverse. So whether it's a correct or incorrect, these five are its causes. So that means the items listed in the previous verse, they all come into full play in order to accomplish any work. All those causes are there, whether you are doing the right thing or you are not doing the right thing. So any action, no action can be completed without these five components. And to show that there's no exception, the Lord Krishna says that whatever action a person undertake, because sometimes we can say we ignore our thoughts. No, thoughts are actions too. Philosophically, it's called kayak, vachik, and manasik. Those are different terminology we use. Kayak, kaya is the body. Vachik. See, over here he uses the word vang. Vachik is another word, speech, and manasik, the mind. We are responsible for it. We are responsible for our thoughts. We are responsible for our words also. And of course, the actions also, right or wrong. So fivefold vision is the description of it's almost like an engine under the hood. Okay. So it's like a lot of force there. These are the causes of all our work. Now let's look at verse number 16. Tatra evam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tuya pashyati akrit buddhitavat na sa pashyati durmati. Tatra evam sati. This is like an idiomatic expression. Tatra evam sati. This being the case. What being the case? What he has been discussing in the last couple of verses. This being the case. Kartaram as the agent. Atmanam, the self. Kevalam, alone. Tu means verily. Ya means who. Pashyati, sees. Akrit buddhi tavat. Owing to his untrained understanding. Akrit. Na means not, sa means he. Pashyati, sees. Durmati, of perverted intelligence. Durmati. Now, such being the case, verily he who, owing to his untrained understanding, untrained buddhi, looks upon his self, which is alone as the doer, he of perverted intelligence sees not. So, in other words, if we take the full credit for it, he's calling us a durmati. Because a person did not understood it, did not spend enough time to understand the anatomy of the work. And taking full credit or full blame for something. He says, it's a durmati, perverted person. So action belongs to the realm of matter, no doubt in the presence of the spirit, but we are the spirit, the soul. Soul is only giving the energy. Soul is not doing any action. See, all those five, there is no place it was said that soul is part of one of the component. It was the body, it was the ego, it was the sense organs, action organs, and presiding deity, destiny. So when we start to identify ourselves with only with the soul, then we become sannyasi. So this is the way to become a sannyasi. Doing what needs to be done, but keeping yourself little apart from it. That is a sannyasi. It's not that sannyasi doesn't do anything. Sannyasi does everything, but knows who is doing it. Who is doing it? So the moment an individual becomes aware of these inner mechanisms, their play, the delusory, egocentric individuality ends. And that's why he said, this being the case, tatra evam sati. So in all such actions, whether good or bad, which are undertaken by body, speech, or mind, the essential component parts are the body, ego, organs of perception, organs of actions, the elements. Elements means the divinity presence in all these elements. That's a devam. All actions belong to matter. And we are not the matter. We live in the matter. We experience through the matter, but we are not the matter. We are not Prakriti. We are the soul. We are the Atma. All our pangs, all our joys, all our failures, all our successes, all imperfections, they belong to whom? Not to the soul. They belong to the ego only. The supreme pure self, which he called Kevalam Atmanam, is very misunderstood by the ordinary person to be the actor. Kartaram. And in consequent ego sense, the divinity is forgotten. And the individual comes to suffer. So suffering happens because of this durmati and akrit buddhitavat. These are the two terms Lord Krishna is using over here. So the causes of this misunderstanding has been indicated here in this verse. Untempered reason, that is akrit buddhi. And durmati is perverted mind. Just like all the maladjustments in an individual, because of no right way of learning, no right recognition of one's own divinity. Because we are supposed to keep this constantly maintained, this that I am the Atma. So the implication of the statement is that if a seeker can integrate himself through the process of disciplining, see, krit and akrit, we learned these words before. In the chapter Dev Asur Sampad Vibhag Yoga, the actions of the Devatas are called the krit actions. That's called a krit Atma. Actions of a Asur, the demonic kind of qualities, are akrit. So if we did not discipline ourselves, we did not cultivate the divine qualities, of course we really don't know who we are. So we got to learn how to guide our mind away from these intellectual perversities. This should be clear in our mind. And this is a yoga bhyas. This is a yogic sadhana. And this has to be done regularly, not only once in a while. Yes, Jyoti.
Manju Malhotra has a question.
Yes, Manju.
Yeah, Namaste, Hershi. So I understood as you said, all the actions are done by the matter, right?
Yes. Yes.
By the
by the
matter.
Prakriti. Yes.
And would you say even for the matter, right?
For the
For the-
Atma. For the Atma.
For the Atma.
Prakriti
No, I mean,
Prakriti works for the sake of the Atma.
okay, that's good
Prakriti
to hear.
works for the
I never
sake of the
thought it like
Purusha.
that.
Because who's the master? Master is the Purush, the soul. Because
Yeah.
this Purusha has it's almost like the distilled water has become a muddy water. We need to get it out. How?
Okay.
With a mati, which is a
Say I want
and with a buddhi, which does the
Sumati.
as a krit buddhi tavad. When we work like that, then of course we can see what is Purush and what is Prakriti. We can see it very distinctly, clearly. So Prakriti works for the sake of the Purush. Okay? So normally what happens? This Purush is forgotten.
Would that be
This is clarified one of the verses in
when
Yoga Darshan, Yoga Sutras.
they were
Manju, your voice is not coming clear. Your Wi-Fi is lagging.
okay? Yeah. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Manju.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, when it's working for Atma, the Prakriti is working for Atma, then that's a Krit action.
Yeah.
Krit
When we do
and
Devi
when it's
work,
working,
yeah. Yeah, when it's not working, it has forgotten who the master is. Okay. So let me finish a couple of more verses, then we can have a discussion more. Manju, you can fix your Wi-Fi also, because I think
okay, sure.
So the key words over here in this verse is akrit buddhitavat and durmati. So we don't want to have that. We want to make sure that we understand it properly. Yes, you can ask questions at the end. There is a in the chat, I saw something. Yeah. So it's only the fivefold components made up of the matter that are indulging in the agitations of the outer activity. Just remember that. Atma is not indulging in it. Atma is just watching. And Lord Krishna continues with another beautiful verse where he is describing the pure intellect, purified intellect, free from the false pride of being the doer. How does this happen? Yasena ahankrita bhava, buddhi yasena lipyate, hatva api sa iman lokan na hanti na nibadyate. Yasya whose, na means not, ahankrita, egoistic, bhav, the notion, buddhi, intelligence. Yasya of whom, na lipyate, is not tainted. Hatva, having slain, api even, sa means he, iman, these, lokan, people. Na hanti, does not slay. Na nibhatyate, is not bound. He who is free from the egoistic notion, whose intelligence is not tainted. Tainted means doesn't have the color of the good or the bad. That I'm doing good actions, I'm doing bad actions. Though he slays these people, he slays not, nor is he bound by the actions. Why is using the word slay? Slay means kill. Why is talking like that? Because remember, the whole conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun is in the battlefield. And Arjun's duty is to wage this war. And in the war, sure, some people are killed. So even to that extreme, he says, even in the battlefield, if you can keep in mind, you are the Atma, you are just here to do your duty. And if you do your duty for the sake of God, don't get involved into the good and the bad, you will not incur any sin. It is our unhealthy contact created by our self-projection unto the Prakriti that give rise to the ego. And what happens from that ego? We suffer the ups and the downs. So that's why Lord Krishna is teaching us how to be free from the sense of egoism. He says, if your intelligence is not tainted by false values of possessions, acquisitions, etc., no action can bind you. It's always our egocentric clinging that leaves impressions, which in Sanskrit we call vasanas in our mind. So actions of the past come to goad us onto more and more activities. So we got to keep our ego aside. We got to look at what are the components in our actions and just stay as a sakshi, as a witness. I'm going to tell you a story over here. Most of you are familiar with the poet Rahim. He was a saint also in the Mughal period. And he was very charitable. Whenever he'll give the charity, his eyes will be low. See, what do? When we give something, we just pride. His eyes will always be low. And at the same time, there was a saint, Tulsidas. He's the one who has written Ramayana also. So he watched it. He asked him that how come your eyes are always low? I watch you, your eyes are always low. How did he ask him? He said, ऐसी देनी देना ज्यों कित सीखे हो सैन. He said, where did you learn this? This way of giving. ज्यों ज्यों कर ऊंचा करो त्यों त्यों नीचे नैन. So the more you give, your eyes are even further down. He says, where did you learn it? How did you let go of your ego, of even giving? You keep on giving and your eyes are down. How did Rahim replied? He said, "Denhar koi aur hai." I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. Denhar koi aur hai, bhejta hai din rain. Log bhram hum par kare, yate niche nain. This is the ultimate giver is somebody else. And I'm just getting the glory of it. So that's why I'm just keeping my eyes down. I am not the giver. So if we can remember this, the sole cause of our actions is the Prakriti. And we are just the Atma. What is there to be arrogant about? Whether we can write better, whether we can speak better, or we can paint better, or we can give better. Hey, is it really ours? Nothing is ours. Nothing. If we can remember that, then we become sannyasi. That is a sannyasi. So sannyasi doesn't do anything. Sannyasi means no attachment to the actions in the real sense. Not just with the words, but internally, no taking credit whatsoever. But still doing what needs to be done. Okay, so 11:15, I think we should stop. There are many questions. So let me do the Shanti part and then we'll do the question answers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. And you will see that after this really comes beautiful theme about the action itself, like a knowledge, knowable, the knower, the organs of the actions, the action, the doer, all of that we'll see that beautifully explained in the next segment of this chapter. Okay, Jyoti.
Veronica has been waiting. Veronica.
Yeah, unmute yourself before you start speaking, please.
Yes, okay. When it said 11 organs of perceptions and also presiding the deities of 11 organs, is it important to know which are the 11 organs?
They are not 11, they are 5. 5 organs of action and 5 organs of perception.
Oh, in the book it said 11.
Altogether 11, when they say 11, 11 means 5 and 5 and 1 mind.
Oh.
Okay, but otherwise 5 organs of actions are, it's like our hands, our feet, our mouth which speaks, and our reproductive organs and the elimination organs. Those are the action organs. And sense perceptions are 5. Our eyes, nose, ears, taste, and touch. Okay, so it's good to know, definitely.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's a
Okay.
5 and 5 and 1 mind.
And
so
the mind.
And the mind, yes. Without
Okay.
mind, they won't work.
And when it said the various life forces, is it meant earth, water, air?
Yes, those are the life forces. Those are the energies through those elemental forces. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, good.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else?
Usha.
Yeah, I wanted to know, you kept referring to matter. What do we mean by matter?
Matter means anything other than the Atma and Paramatma is matter.
So anything that's like physical in this world?
Anything physical, like in our own body also, the body, the mind, the intellect, that's all matter. So in Sanskrit, it's called Prakriti.
Also, matter is Prakriti then.
Matter is Prakriti. Matter changes. The Atma or Paramatma does not change. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. See, like a matter is indestructible too. Just like Atma and Paramatma is indestructible, but matter changes. Wood becomes, we'll see it as a fire. Then after fire, it's the gases. The same wood changes. Or water could be A liquid water, it could be ice, it could be snow, and it could be the vapors also. It changes. It does not get destroyed. Nothing gets destroyed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but matter changes, soul and God does not change. That is the difference. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And matter is not alive without the divinity in it, and a divinity cannot experience without the matter. So they both need each other. Okay. Because sometimes we wonder why are we here if we are part of God? We needed to experience. Experience cannot happen without the matter. And matter is dead. It's like an inert without the soul. So it's almost like a wedding between these two.
Okay.
Okay, that clear, Usha?
I'll have to think about it a little.
Think about it. Yes, I know. It's a yogic philosophy, Vedic philosophy, whatever you want to call it. But this is the underlying principle of whatever we study over here. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Jyoti. Anybody else?
No.
Unmute, Manju.
You have
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Achha. Okay. So as you said, okay, the matter does all the actions for the soul.
Yes, for the
Is
sake
that
of the
right?
soul. For the
Yes?
sake of the soul. Yes.
For the sake of the soul. I mean, most of the time we are not even aware. We are like we feel, suppose I want to do something for a friend. It's because I like this friend. And that friend has a body. And I'm attached. And out of love, I want to do that for selfish reason, because I love, I mean, I may not have the purest of intention because I'm not even aware of Atma. So I'm
And that's
doing
why
for that body. So that's akrit.
That's
act.
a akrit then.
Because I'm not aware of the
Yeah,
whole
you are not aware of
philosophy.
it, but
Yeah.
still you are doing it. Without the
Yeah.
Atma, you can't even do bad action.
No, that I understand.
Energy is
That
needed.
we need the energy of Atma.
Yeah, energy is needed. And when we are more and more aware of it, then we become more Kritatma. But all the actions are being done through the energy. And if we are more aware, that's why he used those words that we are Durmati if we are not understanding. If we have
but not for the energy, but
ultimately everything is
action
happening for the evolvement of the Atma. Going up and down also.
Yeah, yes, I understand.
Going towards the goal.
And that
we may not clearly know we are doing it, but ultimately we are all towards there. Sometimes we take few steps back, but it is for the sake of the Atma.
But like if I'm killing few people, what am I doing? If I'm killing few people, I have no understanding. I just want to hurt that person.
Yeah,
it's my ego driven.
Yeah, you are not
for selfish reasons.
Yeah, you are not thinking it right.
Right.
Okay. But it's because of the certain those 5 components of action is being worked out for some reason. Okay, so nothing is happening without reason. Okay,
understand.
So if you're consciously aware of it, then sure.
But I don't. I mean, I still don't understand
vertically. But we are not. Most of the people are not consciously aware of it. That's why they just go only horizontally. For a vertical flight, we got to keep it in mind. Do the right actions.
I mean, unconscious mind.
Yeah, unconsciously people are living. Yes, they don't even know what the purpose of life is. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
to be fully aware of it,
So I
ultimately,
didn't even know that we do all the action
uh,
for the Atma.
yeah, it is always for the Atma.
Is my internet not good?
Yeah, it's like you are
Yeah,
very
no, okay.
choppy, very choppy.
Hershey, can you give an example of the Durmati?
Okay, sorry, I don't know.
Durmati is what Manju is talking about. If somebody just purposely kills somebody,
Okay.
lies, cheats, being jealous,
Okay.
all those negative tendencies which we sometimes see, that's a Durmati.
Okay.
Okay. So again, what happens to the Atma? Atma goes down then. So it is also for the Atma. A fact is felt in the Atma. It's almost like you just think about that chariot. The owner of the chariot is sitting in the back. If the horses are not fully trained, if the rein is not properly held in the charioteer's hand, sure, horses and the chariot will go into the ditch, but along with that, the owner will go also in the ditch. Owner is just sitting over there, but effect is felt. Okay. Who else has a question?
Jonathan?
Yes, Jonathan.
I think you've been explaining this, but just about the right action versus wrong action, is there a quick way to review it or point us to some verses in the Gita that would be helpful for understanding what is right action versus wrong action?
I think go back to chapter number 16. And even in this chapter, anything tamasic and rajasic is wrong.
Okay.
Satvik is good.
Okay.
Okay. For the food also, for the charity also, for the tyag also. Okay. So
Okay.
throughout the last few chapters are full of this.
Okay.
The right and the wrong. The right, Satvik is right. Satvik will move us up. Tamasic will definitely take us down. And Rajasic will keep us in the middle. If you want to stay in the middle, go back and forth. Rajasic. Satvik, vertically up. And Tamasic, vertically down. Okay, so review these chapters. Right after chapter 16, there's a lot of examples over there. Okay. Yes, Jyoti.
Urmilji?
Yeah, I am pretty stuck, though I thought I know everything, but when I attend the class, I thought I get a little mixed up with the words. The sannyasi, in number 16, no, 17, 18, 17, it says, you told us that it's there, the pure intellect people are only a witness, and they're free from ego or false pride of being the doer, and they are detached. And then it says, even if they kill, they neither kill nor do earn any karmic reaction.
Yes. Yes. As you say, sannyasi now.
Yeah.
Sannyasi is identifying himself with the Atma. And he understands clearly that my body, my Prakriti part in me is doing the actions. So there's no accumulation of the effect of the action. In a
So
sannyasi,
even if anybody who kills can say, I did it because
it's not about saying.
it
It's
is
not
being.
about saying. You don't have to say anything. It's what's in your mind. What is the thought pattern? Okay. So if sure, anybody, if anybody is this is not just only for Arjun, or not
Some
just for,
examples would be helpful, Rishi.
huh?
Some examples of this would be helpful because I'm sure we most get confused when we hear that. So some examples, what will be bad but still good?
Example is right here, Arjun. Arjun is there waging the war against his teacher, against his grandfather, his uncles, his cousins. What could be a bigger example than that?
You are
So it's
seeing
like
the
if
people are
a
still.
person can do it without thinking that I am doing it. See, like I has to identify that I identification has to be with the Atma. Atma doesn't do anything.
Could you give them more practical examples? Most of the people are not in the
Well,
war
if
where
it's your,
right
sorry,
to war and all that. So what will be a good example, practical for ordinary people?
Hershey, I was thinking, so if it's your duty, if your duty calls to do a negative action, that won't be counted as karmic.
But
Right.
duty also, then how do you do the duty? It's not everybody who's doing the duty. It's like your own state of mind.
So would
One
that
person
be like,
can do the duty by getting attached to the result.
Okay.
One person can do the duty, I am doing it. One person can do the duty by remembering God only. So it's state of mind which really dictates this, not the action itself.
so Harshi, this could be soldier who is
Not
fighting?
every soldier. Every soldier is not going to be like that. State of mind, just remember that. The real journey is decided with the state of mind, not the actions. We got to see, where is my mind? Is my mind calm? See, that's why the whole yogic discipline is taking control of the mind. Because impressions go in the mind. The whole journey is with the mind. We don't pay much attention to the mind, that's the problem. We pay more attention to the body or to the objects. Right? So going back to Manny's inquiry over there, a parent, they can take care of the children thinking that they are mine. I am doing it. Or on the other hand, can just do the parental duty, remembering there's a soul in them and soul in me, and there's a reason we are together, and staying little detached from it. This all starts with the detachment, with the vairagya. You remember, whether it's a Yog Darshan or whether this Bhagavad Gita or Vivek Chudamani, whichever scripture we study, it starts with those two, Vivek and Vairagya. Vivek is a clear understanding what is real, what is unreal, what is permanent, what is temporary. And Vairagya is not getting attached to the temporary. Okay? Moving towards the permanent. So if you can remember these two, there are many examples. All day long, we have the examples in our life.
Yeah. Harshi, a good example could be this
Manju,
that happened. This
really
George.
not
Oh,
letting,
oh, my Wi-Fi. Okay, okay.
yeah, it's not letting you speak today, looks like.
Okay, okay.
Hershey, by the way, Deepak will sing today a Krishna bhajan.
Oh, Deepak will sing. Okay, all right, good, good.
Manjula, if you turn off your video, then you're
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now, Manju.
Okay. So my quick one thing was like George Floyd. What happened with the cop who was kneeling on him? He had him under his control, but he didn't. His ego, the cops, what he did at that time was not his duty. That was his ego-driven action, what he ended up doing to him.
Yeah, there was a hatred in that mind.
Yes, it was a revengeful act which he had
Revengeful
planned.
act.
It was from the beginning. The thought was that, not just another, some criminal or, small criminal or something like that being caught.
Let
He
me
took
tell you, when we do the Kritatma, when we are moving towards even the Tyag, let alone the Sanyas, there is a more and more positivity in our own mind. There's a more and more clarity. There is even a more and more doing good for the more people.
Yeah.
Okay, even if you are killing a snake, for example, if snake is there to protect the children, because you want to protect the children. In your mind, it's not that you want to kill the snake.
Right.
You want to protect the children. So it's a letting go of the lower for the sake of the higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like we can see it in our own mind if there's a calmness.
Yes.
If there's a clarity, if there's a more and more wisdom, if there's a more and more love,
Yeah.
if there's a more and more health in us, you will see that this kind of a person, sannyasi and tyagis, they are in general very healthy people too.
Yeah.
Effect of this is seen. Why do they show all these saintly people radiant, glowing? Because there's a goodness in them. They just want to just help others. That's it. Because it's not because of something, it's causeless. They want to help others. Okay, so it's a felt. It's nothing to talk about actually. Sannyasi, just like I gave you the example of Rahim, he just wanted to help and he didn't want any credit for it.
Yes.
And what do we see these days? Sometimes we want to do this much, but we want this much credit. That's not a tyagi. What did he tell us? That's a Rajasic person. Or even on the, because there's a gradation of the Satvikta, Rajasikta, and the Tamsikta too. It's not just a three alone. There's a degrees. So that's a Rajasikta towards the Tamsikta. When we want to look better than what we are. We are not hurting anybody, but we just want to look better. Okay, so we'll stop it here because I know you must have a lot of other things to do too. So Deepak is going to sing a bhajan. So let's just listen to that.
Right, hello. So I'm going to sing in Krishna bhajan,
Sure,
which
Deepak,
is
thank
about the
you.
existence of Krishna and how we approach to get closer to the Krishna.
Okay, good.
So, Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ram Narayanam Janaki Ballabham कौन कहता है भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी बल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान खाते नहीं बेर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी बल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम। राम जपते रहो, काम करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम। याद आएगी उनको कभी ना कभी, कृष्ण दर्शन तो देंगे कभी ना कभी। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम। नाम जपते रहो, काम करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम।
Thank you very much, Deepak.
Very
Beautiful.
good thought.
Hmm?